You're delaying a little bit. We're live. Okay.
All right, here we go. We are live now. Going to start the show at the top of the notes. Here we go. And welcome back to another episode of This Week in Photo. I am your host, Frederick Van Johnson. Really interesting show for you today. We've got two newbies on the show that I have to haze and raise and rake over the coals like new recruits. We've got Ms. Christine Alward and Mr. Tim Engle. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
Hello. It's nice to actually be on.
Yeah, you guys have been listening to the show once or twice before, right? So you know how the show goes. So it's not like I can lie to you and fool you, right?
Yeah, a long time I've been listening.
Excellent. Well, now you're on the show. We'll reveal some other things, some other projects that we're working on down the line. But before we do that, Christine, tell us a little bit about you. You know, what you're a photographer. You're also a model. You're also a production coordinator. You've got all kinds of alsos behind your name.
I wear a few hats.
Yes, you do.
So I am a photographer. I'm a portrait photographer. Mostly do family, senior, kids, newborn. I do model, which I don't know really how that happened, but I've been modeling for a few years. It's because of Tim.
Listen there, Tim. I don't know how that happened. I just became attractive accidentally, and then I fell in front of a camera, and it just happened.
Okay, you joke, but that's kind of how it happened. I had no aspirations for modeling, but I met Tim, started modeling. I met him through a meetup group. I went as a photographer, not as a model, and he said, let me shoot you. You will learn things about photography that most photographers don't have the opportunity to experience, because how many of them actually ever put themselves in front of a camera, Yeah. So started modeling for Tim. That kind of it went really well and kind of took off. Which
and your portfolio is stunning. I mean, I got to credit to both of you guys, but your portfolio is, in the top 1%, I'd say, of portfolios, right?
I'll take that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. We'll put the link to it in the notes for this episode. But yeah, it's really good stuff. I'm going to talk to the guy that was on the other side of the camera with those in a second and get his perspective of working with you. But Christine, you're also a photographer in your own right. Like you said, you're a portrait photographer.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the percentage of time you say you spend behind the camera versus in front of the camera versus being working with Tim and building shoots and stuff?
It's gotten to a point where it's 50-50. When I first met Tim and first started working with him, it was weighted way more towards modeling and producing his shoots.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is to build my business and my portrait business, so it's gotten to a point where it's half and half. And I wish I had time to do all of them all the time, because I love all the aspects of what I get to do.
Right.
But I'm good with half and half, and as Tim gets bored with me and finds less uses for me, and I have other things to do, and I can take more pictures.
From what I've seen, I don't see that happening anytime soon. So, all right, Tim. So, what about you? On your side of the camera, you saw this person that you could, do your Jedi mind trick on, and bring her on as a muse as well as an assistant. How did that even go down? How did you do that?
Well, what she said. I mean, it started with a meetup group, and she said, "Can you help me?" And I said, "Get in front of the camera, because those things that you can learn being in front that we can't learn, some of us. I mean, I'm not going to be in front of a camera modeling, so I can't get that aspect." So, and it worked. I mean, the great thing was that her portfolio was so outstanding that clients that came to us with projects said, "Well, can we use that model?" I'm like, "It just so happens that model works for me." Yes.
Yeah.
So it worked out beautifully, and her work has progressed so well. I mean, she has done in a short span what I have not seen many photographers do in her own personal work.
Yeah.
And what she's making, it's just she's doing really well with that.
I love talking about Christine while she's in the hangout in third person. It's
yeah.
She's very nice. She's a
smile.
really nice
Like,
person.
oh, yeah.
You know? All right, Tim. But just so that's the Christine connection. So what about you yourself? So Tim Engle Photography, right? What's your URL again for the?
That's englephoto.com, and the Engle photo is ENGLEPHOTO, of course.
Okay, and you're up here in Northern California doing your thing up in Sacramento, right?
Yeah.
So what's the main thrust of what you do day to day?
So it's commercial and fashion. It ranges from corporate work, which is like this time of year, a lot of corporate work, to fashion, to catalog, to Z cards, to lookbooks for different manufacturers and designers and that type of stuff. And I also spend some time teaching and mentoring and doing workshops.
Yeah, and you're that guy. We were talking the other day. You're the guy that's inundated by requests from models to shoot them, right?
Yeah, I get a lot of requests.
Most of us, the normal, carbon-based photographers, have to go beg and find models to shoot. They're throwing themselves into troll model mayhem, and we know how that is. So
I'm fortunate. I get a fairly large amount of requests on a regular basis.
Very cool, very cool. Well, yeah, both of you. We'll put links to both of your sites in the show notes for this episode. But welcome, an official welcome to the TWiP family, to both of you guys. Thanks for coming on today.
I'm so excited to finally be. I listen to this all the time when I'm at the gym and when I'm doing stuff, so it's kind of crazy to be on it.
Well, hey, you can listen to yourself next time you're at the gym. How about? You're like, did I actually say that on the podcast?
That's right.
All right, guys, let's dive into the stories, the news for this week. And the big story, or one of the big stories, is that Canon has recently announced their third quarter financials, and this came to us via Reuters, or via Imaging Resource, actually, and reported by Reuters. Canon's operating profits have fallen to 71.8 billion yen, or $665 million. That's a decrease of 21%. Year over year. Similarly, Canon's revenue fell to 872 billion yen. That's $7.25 billion. That's a decrease of 4.5 year over year. Now, Canon has cited the decrease in demand for digital cameras, specifically DSLR, and the money that they invested in new businesses as the reason for these lower numbers. So, in other words, they're saying people aren't buying DSLRs, and we spend a lot of money over here, but they're saying, to try to put a positive spin on it, they're saying that due to the weaker yen, the company expects full-year profits of 370 billion yen, or $3 billion. It's an increase of 9.7 year over year, and that's and you got to take this last sentence with a grain of salt. That's 5 billion yen more than previous estimates. I hate when they say, it's more than, it's like me saying, you know what, I'm expecting to make $5 next year, and then I go on to make $20,000. So I can say I made all this more money than I expected. You can spend things however you want. Christine, when you see that both of you guys, first of all, both of you guys are DSLR shooters, and I'm the lone wolf that's a mirrorless guy. When we do shoots together, and I show up and I have this little tiny bag, and Tim, you have a truck, full of stuff.
I know.
So what does this make you think? We've been saying on TWiP, as you guys have heard maybe over the past several years or so, we've been trying to call Canon and Nikon out for lack of innovation and, just kind of moving slowly when all these other companies like Panasonic and even Leica, Panasonic, Leica, Olympus, and Sony are just innovating like Silicon Valley style. What does this make you guys think as professional shooters that are shooting DSLR when you see these numbers? Christine?
So, I'm a Canon shooter. Tim's a Nikon shooter. Both still DSLR, but, at first it's like, that's my brand, and I was just like, no, I'm sad. I'm sad because they're not amazing.
Yeah.
And then I thought, ooh, maybe Christmas sales, and I can get new stuff because I gotta make up for it.
You're a bottom feeder.
I'm a bottom feeder. But as far as innovation, I know that they're lacking. I'm not a gearhead like the two of you. I'm really slow to
Yeah.
like go to the new thing. You do. You show up with your one bag, and I look at you, and I'm so jealous because I'm like, I love that stuff. I feel like all this gear is more women friendly. I'm like, I'm little. Like carrying all my stuff around is getting hard for me.
Yeah.
So there's that, but the fact that they're not selling DSLRs, I kind of think for business, I'm like, well, that means there's less moms with their Canon Rebels that look at me and they go, well, I have the same kind of camera you do, so I can do my own photo shoot. I don't need to hire you.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's
good,
exactly
stop
right.
buying them. Use your iPhone. Like
That you hit it right on the head. You hit it right on the head because I can't imagine being inside of Canon and their their strategy meetings and they're thinking, okay, what do we do for 2016 and 2017 and all this? And these guys have to be getting hammered, right? Because you look at Apple and their relentless onslaught, Apple and Android and Google, your relentless onslaught of these phones that have decimated the point-and-shoot market and are, kind of eyeing the professional market with some of the quality of 4K and these little things. I mean, it's crazy and it's mind-shifting, especially you add in the shift to digital or to online, how most people are sharing their images online anyway. So they're like, yeah, that's a great camera that shoots 9 bazillion megapixels, but you know what? I only need 1024 by 768 for online. So there's that, and then the other piece of it is the mirrorless. So you get hit by these camera phones, and then you get hit by the mirrorless guys. What's Canon supposed to do? What do you think?
Well, I was like, oh, business development, that sounds exciting. Like, what am I going to get out of that? And I go look at it, and it's like night video surveillance and stuff for semiconductors. And it's like they're not even innovating for a professional photographer. They're, and I guess I knew that because I've seen the articles about these crazy, like, uber high ISO images that have been coming out of Canon, and I go look at them, and I think, wow, that's amazing. And then I go look at how much it costs. I'm like, okay, well, that's not consumer level. Like, that's like a $30,000 video surveillance camera.
Yeah,
that does
not for us.
Good.
Yeah.
So, the fact that their business development isn't even in the market of professional photography is kind of worrisome to me because what are they making that I can use? Probably nothing. I'm going to have to jump ship sooner or later.
To me, Tim, I want to have you chime in on this because to me, I look at this and... I'm not bashing. I really want these guys. These are like I just published an interview today with Nikki, the woman. What's her last name? Zongroni. There's Zongrone. She's the president at Kodak Alaris of the Consumer Imaging Group. I just posted it to TWiP Talks this morning, and part of that conversation was their lack of innovation, which led to bankruptcy in the reorg, and now this new company, which is Kodak Alaris, and back when Kodak was in its heyday, like I said in that interview, they were one kid on the playground that had all the toys, and now there's a crowd of kids there, some big kids, some small kids, some, there's everybody on the playground now fighting for the same toys, but now they're coming back into that market, but they're coming back in swinging. I look at this and I'm like, is Canon and Nikon, etc., are they repeating what Kodak did, way back then? Tim, what do you think?
It worries me because I put all of my eggs in a Nikon basket.
Yeah.
And if they're not going to continue to innovate, then, like Christine said, I have to look to jump ship at some point probably. And I'm the same way. As I get older, I have less and less desire to carry a large bag.
Your back has less and less desire to carry.
Absolutely, and I think that
and Tim works out.
And so I think that even with like the technology that they're putting in, with apps and the ability for me to add features and take features away and do things that I want, I feel like my Nikon is just like this thing that does one thing. And I mean, just the other day I was trying to get one shot. It was kind of a nice sunset. And I couldn't get my camera out quick enough to get the settings I wanted, so I pulled my iPhone out and got that shot. And it's like it's not a nimble device.
You have a success, so you could have just shot 4K of that whole thing, right? If you wanted to.
Yeah, my Nikon's not even 4K.
Yeah, it's scary, but you think of it. See, Tim, you paint a really accurate picture because you're like, okay, and we're in the same. You and I are in the same demographic. Christine, you're you know, you're not in our demographic or age range, but you know, we're in the same demographic of, you know, I don't want to be carrying this stuff around. I've carried all this stuff around for decades, and now technology, thankfully, is getting to a point now where I don't have to carry all that around, and I can still do stuff that I couldn't do way back when with this other stuff. So I feel like we have seen as consumers the writing on the wall for years. We've been talking about it on TWiP for years that this stuff is coming down, but I think a lot of folks are like you, Christine, where they're like, you know what, it kind of works. It works great for me, and I don't change that much anyway. Light is still the same, you know, so I can still do my style. I'm all good. But those folks, I think, are going to be like Tim and I. So Tim and I are on the edge of, you know what, I'm a geek. I like the tech, and I want to change. Plus, I'm getting older. I don't want to carry all this stuff around. And then right behind us are people that are like, you know what, this other stuff is actually kind of cool. I want to do this other stuff with it. What, in my mind, I look at Canon and I'm like, okay, you guys almost have a battle plan written for you by these other competitors on how to execute. Build a camera. Look at what they did and see what's popular, and build that and make it work with Canon lenses. You're done. You know, that's it.
I totally don't get what's taking so long. I mean, I don't get it. I haven't switched. I mean, doing the kid stuff, I'm like on the ground chasing little kids, and I haven't switched because nothing works as fast for me.
Yeah, the focusing. Yeah.
The focusing. I mean, nothing can keep up with a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
So I haven't switched from my Canons, but at the same time, I look at them and I'm just like, what are you doing? Come out with something. I don't care about video surveillance or semiconductors or L series printers. I'm like, no, just give me a nice little small form camera that's fast. I know you guys can do it.
Well, Tim, does this mean maybe we're looking at this the wrong way? We're looking at these guys and saying, hey, innovate and do something like these other competitors are doing. Maybe we look at it from a different perspective and say, okay, maybe you're conceding the market to all these competitors, and instead you're gonna focus on these other things, like Christine, you were saying, like, you know, more enterprise level features. Do you think that that might be the case? I don't know. I'm just reaching.
Hard to say. I mean, I think that they're just not the nimble machines that the other guys are right now.
Yeah.
You know, I go to a camera store locally and I watch people, you know, shopping for cameras, and they have, you know, a big Nikon sitting on the counter, or they have a small Fuji. And, you know, and the Fuji is $500 less, and the Nikon's that much bigger, and what are they going to choose? You know, they're going to go with the smaller, a little bit cheaper, which in image quality, they're all so amazingly good anymore. I mean, we're just, you know,
is it different flavors of awesome now? You know, it's like you can't really make a bad choice these days. It's more of the system that you know, and the switching costs. It's the system the system, i.e., operating system, that most clicks with the way your brain fires, and the investment that you have in peripherals like lenses and all these other things that stop you from switching. Like Christine, I know if I'm assuming if you could wave a magic wand and convert the stuff you have now into some other system, would you, or would you stay where you are? Like if there were no switching costs, if you were just like, there's no switching costs, like someone said, hey, we're going to give you a 1-to-1. You give me your Fast 50, we're going to give you this matching Fast 50 from whatever other manufacturer you want to go to. So there's no switching costs. Would you switch, or would you stay put?
I mean, to me, cost is a part of it, but there's also the years of muscle memory. Like, if I could take using something and transfer that, that's one thing. I mean, you know, cost is part of it, but not having to think when I'm working, when I only have a split second to get a kid's reaction, that's huge. If I have to think about what I'm doing and I miss the shot, I mean, sure, it may not take me that long to learn it. I mean, that's part of life, and I know
it wouldn't. That'd be like that's like saying you know what, I really don't want to get in that Tesla because I am so accustomed to this horse and buggy. I know what this horse. I know what he thinks. I know what to feed him. You know.
Yes.
But even in my world, it's like,
but it's just saying that cost isn't the only. You know, I guess if it were free, I would probably do it. That's the honest answer.
What about you, Tim? What do you think? If no switching costs, would you jump ship, or would you stay with Nikon?
if it was, no cost and it was like lens for lens, I probably would jump. I mean, the idea of now having a smaller bag and a lighter bag, I would be into it.
Yeah, yeah.
It has to keep up with me. I mean, Nikon still. I mean, I worked with the Sony last winter a bunch, and it doesn't keep up with how I shoot in the studio.
Which Sony were you shooting with? The A7?
A7, I think it was the R.
Oh, the R. Yeah. Well, that's not. See, that's a wrong tool for the wrong job. You're a fashion shooter. The A7R is like that camera, and this is Sony's fault because they made them look exactly the same. The Sony A7R should be treated more like a medium format camera. You know, it's that kind of camera where it's like, okay, I'm ready to shoot, and clunk, you get the shot. You know.
Yeah.
The A7S is more of a street photographer's low light monster. You know, and they have different cameras that do different things, but they all look the same, and they marketed them relatively the same. So you have to like dig to figure out which one's right for you. And what ends up happening is a pro fashion shooter gets his hands on one of these and it's like, yeah, let me try the A7R, and it's the wrong one. You know.
Yeah. And the quality was great when I got it, but it's like it just, like the keeping up with me wasn't good.
Yeah, no, it's not for that. Yeah, I think the A7R would be the camera maybe that Ansel Adams would have bought if he was around today, because it's that kind of more considered camera where you look at everything and you're ready to get it and click, you get the shot. Yeah. All right, guys, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about YouTube. They've launched a new ad-free subscription service called YouTube Red. We're going to talk about how this might impact content creators and photographers. Use that pause. The pregnant pause. All right, here we go. All right, guys, welcome back. We are going to dive into story number 2. This is about YouTube Red. So basically, YouTube Red is a membership that YouTube, i.e. Google/YouTube or GoogleTube, announced, where for just $10 a month, they guarantee subscribers access to ad-free videos, and you can watch them offline as long as you're signed into your account. And they'll, let's see, I'm reading this here. YouTube will extend the subscription to their recently launched gaming application and their music app, which will be made available soon. So a music app which goes head-to-head against the Spotifys and the Apple Musics of the world. And also offers the bonus of gaining access to the Google Play Music app, which it currently has a collaboration with. So this is interesting. And I tried this out. I want to know if you guys tried it out. So, being the geek and early adopter, I'm like, yeah, I want to see. And I use YouTube a lot. I have a TV in my office back there where I watch tutorials and, different things on all day. So I'm like, okay, let me try this out. It'd be nice to not have to deal with these ads all the time because they're intrusive. So after 3 or 4 days playing with it, I can honestly say that I don't know if I could go back to a world with ads on my on my YouTube. It's so nice not seeing these irrelevant ads every couple of minutes. So that's the first thing that I say. But the second thing is $10 seems expensive to pay for something that I don't feel like should have been there to begin with. I mean, I know it's an ad-supported service, yada, 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 all this. But you remember YouTube started out, there were no ads.
Right.
And then ads showed up, and we got used to them. And now they're saying, oh, if you want to go back to what it was before when it was free, we need $10 a month to pay. So it's, that rubs me a little wrong. I think $5, $4.99 might have been a little bit better. And then the third thing was the impact, like said in the intro there, the impact to content creators like us. So we're actually creating content for YouTube. So they had lots of complaints when they launched it because they essentially didn't give content creators any choice. It was kind of a, it was a George Bushian moment. Either you're with us or you're against us. So they said, content creators, yeah, you don't have to participate in it, but we're not going to show any of your stuff. So I don't know, Tim. What did you think of this? I mean, you will soon be a YouTube content creator. What did you think of this deal?
Well, spending $9 or $10 a month on that. I mean, I use YouTube now for Photoshop tutorials, for small how-to videos. Mm-hmm. So really, the ads aren't that intrusive for me. And I feel like personally, it's like if I'm going to spend $9 a month, then I'll probably spend it to an educational network that
Like a
gives me,
Linda Creative Live or something like that, right?
yeah, I'd much rather spend, if I was going to spend money to something like that.
But if you're only using YouTube for that, yeah, that makes sense. But I tend to use YouTube for like everything. Like, so there's, okay, I need to learn how to do so and so with my YouTube channel. I'll find it in 10 seconds on YouTube. Then it goes to long form videos from political people, and then photographer tutorials from Serge Ramili, and it just goes on and on and on. There's TWiP, there's all kinds of stuff in there where I feel like I watch more YouTube, I think, and I'm sure I'm a fringe compared to like teenagers and those guys. I watch more YouTube than I do anything else. That's the content I generally consume, and then when it's not YouTube, it's either going to be Netflix or Hulu or something like that. So for me, I'm looking at it, and then especially when they add in the music side of it. So I could see if I didn't have if I didn't have Spotify, if I didn't have Apple Music, and I needed an all-in-one solution for $10 a month, I'd get that. So I would get essentially Spotify, which is the same amount. I would get the tutorials that you talk about, Tim. So kind of a pseudo Linda. I'd get all the other content. They've got all kinds of ridiculous amount of content on there. So I feel like it is kind of worth it, but it's just that it was free. Then it was free with no ads. Then it was free with ads, and now it's kind of free.
Right.
And not, I don't know. Christine, what do you think?
So, I mean, I think, talking about Spotify and Hulu, they did the same thing a while ago. I think YouTube's late in the game for adding a fee. I've already committed to my Amazon and my Netflix monthly things. Like, I don't want to add. They're now like third or fourth on my list to go to YouTube. I've already committed to these other subscription services. I don't know how many. I don't use the Google Music. I've already committed to. Well, I use Rdio. I'm like even an outlier in my music.
Wow,
app
you're the one.
I'm the one. It's great. Well, they were social before Spotify was. They had a social integration, so you could learn new music through them. But one thing when I read this, I was like, okay, this is I don't know, this is boring. So I went and read the blog post, and the cool thing is they say they wanted to do it to invest in the creativity of their top content creators. So they're actually using some of this to give their top content creators the ability to make their own shows.
Yeah,
which is actually really cool.
That is really cool. Yeah.
I read
YouTube originals, right?
Yeah, I read some descriptions. I don't personally find them all that interesting. But the fact that they want to, it is just user-created content. So the fact that they want to kind of give back to the creative community that helped build them and create such a strong followership, I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, I wonder though.
I think it's kind of late in the game. I've never gone to YouTube for entertainment purposes. I'm kind of with Tim. It's like, I need to learn how to clean my dishwasher disposal, or I have to learn something really fast. Let me go find out how.
It's the default. It's the de facto stores for.
Yeah, and I understand that it's free content. So 30 seconds of my time, I'm probably trying to get whatever out of the dishwasher anyway while I'm waiting for the YouTube thing to start playing.
Yeah, maybe it's just me, because I'm just like, once I went back to no ads, it's just like, But I don't have to. I feel like I'm not being inundated with messaging, on the service. It's relaxing.
Yeah. Hulu did the same thing. It was free, totally free. Then there were ads. Then there was a subscription. But this was years ago. I feel like YouTube's kind of too late. I don't know. They're like.
Yeah, I don't know, but YouTube is a monolith. They're the T-Rex of the video sharing industry. So when they say, just think, I don't know what their subscriber numbers are right now, but any number multiplied by $9.99 a month
is a massive number.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So and if you're not one of those top content creators that they're doing this for, and you're someone just starting, and now you've got these people who have paid the subscription going to your channel, and you're getting paid based on that. Like, I don't know how it's going to work if people are paying a subscription, but content creators are banking on views.
Does that put you in the bottom of the hill and it's a longer climb?
I'd be interested in knowing how that's going to work out for the people not in their top.
Me too. Yeah, we gotta get I'm gonna get a YouTuber on here and talk to them one-on-one and see. Maybe I'll get them on TWiP Talks and see what their perception is from the inside out. You know, one of those guys with like a bazillion followers that have been monetizing their channels. Because some of these top-end YouTubers are making, you know, really good money. We're talking, you know, 6 figures is like pauper status with these guys. So.
Well, and I don't even think you have to be a top content creator to get like a good second income. I mean, you know, I have a friend who just started. He's doing like kids music videos, educational music videos. Stay-at-home dad, just started it, like hit millions of views really quickly. Like, how is this going to affect him? He's not in the, you know, top percentage, but he's enough to bring some income for his family. Like,
yeah.
Where does that $9.99 split for him?
I'm curious. I'm curious, Tim. What do you think? So, I mean, you know, first of all, do you feel like you're in the target market to be plunking down $10 a month just to reduce these ads? And then secondly, like what Christine brought up, the whole revenue split that YouTube is doing with the content creators. I look at that. When I read the same thing you read, Christine, and I was like, yeah, I wonder what that's great marketing copy, guys. But what's the real deal? You know, what do you think, Tim?
I don't think I'm the demographic for that stuff. I mean, my kids are the demographic for that stuff. They're the ones that, I mean, they're on YouTube daily.
Yeah.
They're seeing that stuff. They have their, you know, content creators they follow that they look at regularly. I mean, I see them pop up on the TV. But is it a bigger hill to climb if somebody's starting out now? It's like, is that like a bigger separation between the top end and the low end, and it's going to be, you know, too mammoth for a little guy to start out? I don't know. How does that?
So I mean, like I said, I'm not in that world. That is a whole interesting offshoot of the entertainment industry, the whole world that YouTube has built there. So on the one hand, I do applaud them for innovate. You know, I don't know if this is innovation, but let's say strategic monetization of their audience, you know, their user. Yeah. So you got to applaud them for that. They're a business that is beholden to their shareholders. So, you know, this is got to be an interesting move from that standpoint. You know, I remember a couple years ago, like Christine, like you're saying, YouTube used to be free, and then when Google purchased YouTube, it was all about, geez, why are they buying that dog? You know, they're buying that dog. It's not even profitable. What's the revenue model? You know, and now they have a revenue model, and they've proven that they kind of own the video universe, and we're saying, hey, you know, what's up with that? So.
Well, and then I think, I mean, Amazon and Netflix with their original, because they're not just doing content for their creators, they're going to do other original content too, I believe. I read in the blog post, and it's like, I read some of them, and they're not good.
They're not compelling.
Like, Netflix is now winning awards for Orange is the New Black and House of Cards, and it's like, I don't, you know, that's a big act to follow. As far as, you know, online, not network original content. So
you gotta wonder though.
If they can't compete with Orange is the New Black, I don't know.
Like fast forward. I know that's a great show. I watched that too. But fast forward into the future. As we grew up, you know, there are a handful of movie studios down in the Hollywood area that, you know, they were the gatekeepers for making all these blockbusters, and they control what we see in the theaters and in many cases what's on TV out of New York and all this stuff. But now, you know, I see things like YouTube and Netflix and Hulu Originals and HBO. All these guys are doing their own thing now. And I'm wondering, like, even the YouTube, does this mean, like, say in 2015, or not 2015, but say 2020 or so, we're going to go to the theater and say, hey, you know, this year's big blockbuster hit of the year from YouTube Studios, boom, 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 you know, starring Tim and Christine or so.
Well, like that. Well, I don't know about that.
I mean, but user created. In other words, the barriers to entry for television and wide distribution have fallen away. Those are gone.
For sure.
But now it seems like one of the next dominoes to fall is movies and these kind of big productions, and these guys have proven they have the studio chops to do this and the revenue to build these Orange is the New Black and, you know, these kind of original series is the next thing, you know, a first-run movie in a studio.
Full-length feature film.
Yeah,
I think you'll see those. I think for sure. I think you'll see Netflix coming out with like bigger full-length.
They've done a couple already, but like Christine said, they were like, you know, it wasn't like nothing. I want to see something out of YouTube or Netflix or somebody that's like, you know, Star Wars, you know, or, you know, something ridiculous, Transformers, or, you know, maybe something better than that. But, you know, something big, you know. You think so?
I mean, TV is like leading the way. There's more viewership on some of these online content creators than I think network. I mean, network cable is freaked out about it, right? Like, they're upping their game. I don't see how it won't translate to movies. It's got to.
Yeah, the big three, you know, TV, CBS, NBC, those guys. I haven't looked at any of those channels. You know, I'm on AMC with Walking Dead and those things now. It's like I haven't gone to regular TV per se in like months.
Yeah, exactly. And now with Apple TV coming out, you know, it just started shipping last week. So Apple is capitalizing on the fact that everyone knows how to use their iPhone these days, and they're putting the iPhone on your television with the whole ecosystem. So now I can theoretically at some point be able to say, you know what, I want to go get that AMC app because it's a couple clicks away, and I got the AMC app, and I'm signed in, and I'm you know, subscribing to their content there. So taking the cable company out of the mix, except for giving me bandwidth. You know, which might hopefully will be the future. I don't know, but it's the democratization of all this. I mean, it started, in a lot of ways, it started with Napster, right? And MP3s becoming free, and they kind of, they opened Pandora's box. And you go from the Napster generation to today and see where the media distribution world has come. It's just, and that's just a couple of, you know, what, a decade or so? It's just
not that long,
Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah, I'm excited. This is really cool. My Apple TV, by the way, is on its way. It should be here tomorrow. Yeah, I'm excited to get that thing. All right, guys, let's move on to story number 3. And this is about an app called VSCO. I think you pronounce it VSCO. This story comes to us from The Verge, VSCO. So they've released a new application called DSCO, DSCO. DSCO, which is it's a new app. It's a GIF creation app, and it's available today. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this. And I wanted to talk about this and have people go check it out. I haven't even checked it out yet. I'll do it after the show. But I wanted to have you guys comment on it from the standpoint of this. It seems to be like we're moving in this direction of lots of motion in our still photos, which you both know I love. That's kind of that thing gets me excited these days about photography is, you know, cinemagraphs and motion, and Apple now with their, you know, the animations that you can do on the phone, the camera, the shots that you do on your phone. Tim, what do you think about this? I mean, like from your standpoint, commercial fashion shooter, is animated the idea of the animated photo? Is this a fad, or is this the shape of things to come?
I think it's one more part of it. I think it's just one more way we're going to try and tell the story that we want to. I think now, like, Facebook allows videos and GIFs even as profile pictures, correct? Yeah. So I mean, what I was thinking the other day when I saw the show notes was, well, if I put a GIF on my profile picture, is that going to get more notice from me as a photographer? So if I have a moving image and you're scrolling through things and that pops up, is that more, you know, people are more likely to click over there and take a look at that stuff than if it's just a still image? That, from a marketing standpoint, that was interesting to me. And then even with Instagram, it's like if I can make something that's interesting that moves, that catches attention, then marketing-wise, that's not a bad thing.
Yes, I agree, but then a part of me disagrees, because I think with great power comes great responsibility. You remember when animated GIFs first showed up? Tim, you're old enough to remember this. When they first showed up and people were putting these stupid flashing banners and arrows and all this crap everywhere that just destroyed. It looked like Vegas.
Are you speaking of, was that be MySpace?
MySpace? Yeah. Yeah, don't get me started on that. So, like, tastefully done. I think this is a technology and a technique that, you're right, it's It's another tool in our toolbox for telling the story and doing something cool with. However, as we know, the race that we belong to, humans, tend to abuse good things.
Yes, true.
You tend to abuse good things, and they, there's all kinds of nastiness that can come out from doing this stuff. Christine, what do you think? Do you think the animated GIF, the Cinemagraph, is the shape of things to come, or is it Pandora's box?
I would like to see it be what comes. I haven't, aside from you, of course, seen any that I think are worthy of being the next thing.
You're just saying that. You can say mine weren't worthy. It's okay.
No, because I was in yours. So
you were in one, yes. Oh, for those that don't know, we'll embed the Cinemagraph that I did of Christine in the blog post for this episode, so you can see it.
Yes. And a Cinemagraph is different than a GIF, right? Like a GIF is a little piece of video that's just on a loop, whereas a Cinemagraph, you're holding a piece of the image.
True, but they're both. You could still do a Cinemagraph. Oh yeah, you're right. A Cinemagraph technically is a still image with a little bit of motion somewhere in there that surprises you. An animated GIF is typically like, somebody doing a layup over and over again on a loop. But the technology is similar, so you could do a Cinemagraph where you could do an animated GIF where only part of the image moves, and it is then technically a Cinemagraph. So.
Right. So, I think now that it will be in the hands of the masses, sometimes you get more amazing things that way. To me, when I hear GIF, I just always think of, like, epic fails, like crashes, or, like, it's always a joke, right? Like, even now on Facebook where you can search their, like, GIF thing, and you start typing in something, and it's always jokey, it's never
college humor.
Serious. Yeah, like, I would love to see people take it in a more artistic, creative way, and I think the people that use VSCO tend to have more of that aesthetic. So I think if we put this in their hands, maybe we'll get something more beautiful than a guy going down a snowy hill on a sled and crashing 100 times over.
I know.
And it's funny because after we got this, I got the email from VSCO saying, "Hey, we just launched DSCO," and they do confirm that it's pronounced disco.
Good.
In their email, and they have a disco ball GIF. And the hashtag, if you're gonna make them and post them, the hashtag is join the disco.
Oh, look at that!
So you know.
That is very cool. I may join the disco this evening. How about that?
So yeah, I do. I hope it takes GIFs. If my perception is that GIFs are weird jokes, I hope that putting this in the hands of the users that use VSCO religiously means that we get GIFs that are prettier.
Yeah, well, we're seeing all kinds of stuff show up. Like I said, Apple with the release of the iPhone 6s, they added the feature in there to make animated photos. It captures just a couple of seconds of photography. There are now apps out there. I actually have one on my phone. There are apps out there that will take those images that your iPhone has recorded, those little animations, and make a GIF from them. So, which essentially then means they're compatible with the rest of the internet instead of just Apple and the places Apple chooses to work with, which is awesome, and it kind of opens that up a little more, and it's kind of it's kind of an indication where Apple will probably go with an update, letting you save it as a GIF.
Yeah.
But then I look at that stuff like on the left side. On the far right side, you have the more pro level things like what we did with Cinemagraph Pro and Flixel, where you have a more considered, almost After Effects style representation and purposefully shot image that is designed to be a work of art, and not, hey, look at that cat sliding across the floor, let me shoot that video and loop it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, you're right.
I think they could be in the windows of storefronts. I think there's tons of application for it. I haven't seen anything worthy of being in.
There's a ton. I'll send you some links. Actually, I have a Pinterest board that's set up that I will
find it then.
You have a Pinterest board?
I have a Pinterest board set up with tons of my favorite cinemagraphs. So, TWiP listeners, if you're not following me on Pinterest, follow me and check out that board because it's some ridiculously cool stuff in there.
I also feel like I might have unrealistic expectations for what they should look like, because I've seen some that are pretty, but I'm like, but I can tell. Like, I want it to be surreal.
Yes. Yeah. See,
You
I
know,
spoiled you with
like,
my work. That's the
that's
thing.
right.
exactly what it is. So no, there's some that are great, and the thing I don't like about a lot of GIFs is they end and then they restart. I want it to just
Hmm.
be this weird fluid.
My thing, I hear you exactly. My thing is, like Tim was saying, a relatively new art form, and
Mhm.
like even when you look at my Pinterest, you'll see lots of interesting and oh, that's kind of cool, type shots,
Mhm.
but there's very few of them that tell a story. Like Tim was
Mhm.
talking about, this is a new way to tell a story rather than hey, there's a pretty girl standing on a balcony in New York City and her hair is blowing.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
that's cool, and I
Right.
like the shot, but what's the story behind it? Like the shot that you and I did, Christina, that we all did. We all worked on the shot. The shot that we did with you pouring tea, you came up with the concept, and you had in your mind what the concept of the shot was going to be and what the story was,
Mhm.
and we executed it and told the story. So I think that's where a lot of the stuff needs to go into more of
Yeah.
story. Just tell a story.
Yeah, it's all this technology. I just keep putting it in my bag and keep looking for opportunities to use it. And if it works,
Yeah.
it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And
Yeah.
it's one
Yeah.
more thing to deliver my client.
Yeah,
I
the other
feel.
thing that I find missing a lot from these cinemagraphs is they're always silent. They're
True.
99% of the time it's just completely silent. And I'm like, you have audio. You could add layers of audio to this thing to give it that extra dimension of reality and suspend disbelief
Mhm.
using the whole thing. Why make this, make it a talkie instead of a silent film, I don't know. Is it just me or what do you guys think? Do these cinemagraphs work better silent or what?
It depends on the image. I
Yeah.
think that, the pouring image you did, I think was perfect for what you had.
Yeah.
Um, if you have an image of a woman, her hair is blowing in the wind, a wind noise would be great. Um,
Right? Yeah, like in the example of say a New York scene, beautiful woman standing on a balcony looking out over Times Square or something. Her hair is blowing. What I'd want to hear is, like you said, a little bit of wind blowing, maybe some chatter of people off camera, and some sounds of New York City in the background. Horns honking and people shouting and the murmur of crowds. All that together, I feel like would complete the illusion rather than just this woman standing there. Even if you don't have a story, you add in a little bit of audio in there. It seems like it'd work a little better.
yeah,
I
the
don't know.
audio would help the story. I mean, she's at a party. She's, on her balcony. She hears,
Hmm.
there's kids in the background, so it can change the story totally.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We were where were we? We were at a shoot in Sacramento. I was talking to one of your models, Olga, when we were on the shoot, and we were doing a cinematograph, which I'm editing now. And one of the things I told her was where I would like to see all this stuff go is like A, you're telling a story with a cinematograph, but B, you're also writing a small paragraph or a small short story to go along with this. Say it's not for a client or something, but why not capture the frame and then describe what's going on? So really paint the picture verbally as well as orally with audio and visually with the motion in the scene. Then you have a complete piece that you can deliver online and everyone can enjoy it. Because online you can see video, you can hear audio, and you can see text. Why not combine all those
Right.
together to make something wicked,
Sure.
I don't know.
You're too far ahead of everyone else, Frederick.
This is how my brain works, I just want to see this stuff. I want to see it. I'm afraid I'm gonna die before it all happens.
Yeah. Well, and I wonder what if there's any sort of like age. I mean, you see a lot more moving content on Instagram, and like, Tim was saying, now Facebook has the feature where you can have your profile be a GIF or video. I have not seen one.
Right,
And I
right.
mean, at least in my world, my Facebook audience generally I would say is probably older than my Instagram ones. So, you know, maybe kids are just going to start making the most amazing GIFs.
I think that's the case. I
Well,
think that's the case.
Snapchat, Instagram, they're going to use all those tools there.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much stuff. I mean, like we could do a whole nother show on those tools. I mean, I know both of you guys are into Periscope now, and it's Periscope and being able to do that stuff. And Snapchat just released an update where they added slow-mo and all this stuff. It's just
Yeah.
It's almost like I was sitting back the other day, and I was just thinking, like, is it me? Am I slowing down? Because, or are things speeding up? Because I was sitting there, I was like, okay, I just got a new camera. I got my GX8. It's got a new camera. I got to, get intimate with that and figure out how it works. Snapchat just released this new update. Apple TV's on its way. All my apps. Every time I look at my phone, the app icon says 30 new updates. I gotta go figure out what each one of those new updates is, and it's just a barrage of updates all the time. At what point do you? I mean, are we supposed to keep up with this stuff, or do you just like deflect it off and focus on what's important, which is telling stories and photography? Tim, what do you think?
Well, I even think about like Lightroom updates and Photoshop updates, and it's like I won't jump on it unless it's going to make it better. I mean, the worst scenario in the world for me is to update and then I'm down because it didn't do something correctly or I can't use it. So if the updates are going to make my life better, I'm all over it. If it's going to speed things up for me and make it more efficient, I'm into it. Apps,
I'm getting bitter though. I'm becoming the bitter curmudgeon because I'm like, I just imagine these because I've been in these cycles, right? I imagine these developers in Silicon Valley that are like, they got their to-do list and they're trying to impress their boss, and they're like, okay, for this next release I'm gonna do all this stuff, and I'm like, dude, stop with the updates. It works great. Just let me use it for a while the way it is and stop changing it for a minute.
Well, and that happened with one of my favorite apps, and that was the Hipstamatic.
Uh-huh.
I loved that app, and I was an early adopter on it, and I used it, and they updated it, and it's very different and not as useful for me right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just keeps going.
Change isn't always a great thing.
Yeah. I would argue it's getting less and less of a great thing because we have these awesome apps that are great to begin with, but for some reason there's this constant pressure to update and innovate and add features and refresh and and just keep going. And at some point we're like, okay, I just want to be like Christine, like you're saying, I want to be a photographer. I just want to shoot. I just want to do this stuff and get comfortable with my tools so that I can build up muscle memory. But this rapid pace of change means you will never build up muscle memory for anything. You're always flabby because you're always trying to figure out what the new feature is and how to make it work for yourself. I don't know. No, that's the old curmudgeon.
I'm totally opposite of both of you. My iPhone is on auto update.
Oh, that would kill me. That would kill me. Yeah.
I just let it happen, and B, I figure it keeps my brain working. If I have to figure, like, what are the apps that like are brain challenges that you do every day? That's just going into an app that is updated every day, right? Like.
And figuring it out.
Jeez. Having auto update on for me would be like, and I've said this on the show before, it would be like getting in my car and, some developers decided to move where the start button is. They think it's more efficient if you put it over here now. And I'm like, I just need to get to my appointment,
How long does it really take to figure it out? They always come with little diagrams that tell you what to do.
But it's death by 1,000 cuts. It doesn't take a whole lot of time to figure it out. But I have no idea how many apps I have on my phone. I've got a bazillion apps. Every time I look at it, literally every single time I look at it, there's a red number on the app icon. I don't want to see a red number on there. I hate that red number.
That's like me. I hate that red number. That's weird. I don't know why that is too.
It's like, as far as my iPhone and my computer are totally different. My iPhone auto updates, I could care less about what got updated. My computer, I will let that update sit for a week. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Wait till the internet crumbles because shut up. I don't know. I have polarizing.
So you're saying your mission critical mobile device that you carry with you every single place you go, you let that run on autopilot.
Yeah.
But your computer that you're only at sporadically, you're much more considerate about letting that thing update.
Yeah, totally.
This makes sense.
I don't know. I just don't. I mean, my phone I have never opened an app and been like, oh my gosh, my world is over because Just
Well,
have
I
it
get to the oh my
updated,
gosh.
and
I get to the oh my gosh, my world is over status when they reset my password and I can't remember the password and I need to get back in the app for something critical and I'm sitting there trying to figure out which of the, because you know, with all these security breaches I change my password every 5 minutes. So I'm like, okay, which password did I use now? Okay, let me reset and wait for the email and plug it in and all this stuff. You know, and I just don't want to do that anymore.
so
I
you
don't
don't
want to
have
do
an
it.
app that manages your passwords? You don't have
I
any
have, I do. I use 1Password on the Mac, but there's no 1Password entity. Or actually, 1Password is on the phone, but it doesn't. Like if you update an app, it's not going to repopulate your password.
But it's like you just go and copy it. It's so easy.
See, this is from she who has 12 apps on her phone.
I have more than 12. I have 20 photo apps just in that folder.
I don't know. I know. TWiP listeners are going to be like, Frederick, stop your whining. This is technology. You got all these first world problems, you know?
No. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't get too concerned because, I don't know, it's not going to stop and it keeps my brain functioning. And
Yeah.
if I have to figure things out, then I'm critical thinking and yay for me.
Yeah, I just know me. I know at some point I'm gonna shut down and I'm just gonna be like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not updating nothing. When I need to update, I'll update. But from now on,
you'll be like those people that I have to work for, and I have to delete emails for them because they're too old to figure it out.
No, but see,
you're gonna turn into one of those.
No, I'm not gonna turn into that. But the goal is to get so obscenely rich that I can hire a person.
Oh, okay.
to handle everything. I want to be driven around. None of this Uber stuff. Yeah, I want to be driven around. I want a driver. I want somebody updating my apps and just telling me what's going on.
I'll do it for you. I'll put it on auto.
There you go. Yeah, I know. You're like, yeah, it's on auto. That'll be $12,000, please.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love it. All right, guys, let's take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a new trend in landscape photography that is a little controversial. All right, we're back for a bonus story for this week in photography. This comes to us from the Irish Examiner, and I don't know if this was a hoax or not. I'm going to say this was a hoax. But how to say this?
Just say it. Rip the Band-Aid off.
Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Okay, so this new genre of photography is called nutscaping. So let me just read this. How about I just read it? All right, with a straight face. Over the years, there have been a variety of strange photography memes and trends. We recently covered a story about a Russian teen who died while trying to take a rooftoping selfie, which we did. This is Bruce Clark writing this for us. Thank you, Bruce. In Western Australia, people can't resist taking a selfie with a smiling marsupial called a quokka. But, of course, there's the ever-popular hot dogs or legs where people compose a photograph using hot dogs to make it look like they're sitting at the beach or poolside. So, essentially, this latest new trend is called nutscaping, and the idea is simple. You take a picture of a beautiful landscape, but you do it in such a way that the silhouette of your man dangling parts... Yes, it's a family show, so I'm trying to be like somewhat cryptic. So your man dangling bits are in the scene. So imagine.
Teabag your camera, folks.
You want to take a picture of the Golden Gate Bridge, you know. You'd frame it up, get the Golden Gate Bridge in there, and then hopefully you have a tripod. And then you go stand in front of your camera, squat a little bit, and get the shot with part of yourself in the shot. So,
I love how you're describing this.
This is the idea. You can check these out at nutscapes.com. This began in 2007 in New Zealand, and it's interesting where people like to take their photography. Tim, because I'm embarrassed to throw this at Christine. Tim.
Yes, Frederick.
Is this genre of photography going to make it into your portfolio?
No.
This is it's for the
TWiP
listeners.
Tim's a landscape photographer, so
That's right.
Yeah, let alone the manscape photographer.
Yeah, no, there's so many parts about this that I just don't get,
Why? It's just funny. It's just funny. It's like people when they take pictures, they like bring a stuffed animal around the world with them and put the stuffed animal in every shot. You know.
Well, they have their stuffed animal with them all the time, I guess, in this scenario.
It's a built-in stuffed animal. You know, as long as you can avoid the indecent exposure charges, you might be okay. Christine, you saw this. Was this a? What did you think? Did you show it to your husband? And what did you think?
I did not. I didn't want to show it to him before I had to talk about it. Because I didn't want him to get mad at me.
You know, he might check the browser history on your computer. So.
What is she doing?
Why are you at this website all the time?
So I looked at it, and the first time you sent it to me, I just almost died. I just laughed. I closed it. I'm like, I'm not scrolling through this. I cannot. Don't spit your wine out.
Yeah, I'm trying not to.
Then, upon examining further for, show purposes, research purposes,
yes.
I realized that, I just pictured the position that these gentlemen have to get
So did I! I just saw this sumo position, right? You gotta assume the sumo.
Yosemite, squatting over your tripod with your pants around your ankles, like.
Yeah.
And what if it's sunrise and it's cold out? Like, this is all. Why would you want to do this? This is all bad. So that was my first thought, was envisioning it.
Yeah, I can honestly say that I can guarantee you that I will never create this kind of photography, let alone a cinemagraph like this.
I don't even know what that would be.
Yeah.
So there's no portfolio coming up with all this?
No, there's not going to be no, we're not going to do that.
I have a suggestion. For those who want to do this, may I suggest that the fuzz that shows up in the picture is bad. You need to take care of it before you take a nutscape picture, okay?
Manscape before the nutscape is what you're saying. Yes.
Yes.
There it is.
I mean, the picture is bad enough, but then when you start looking at it and you see the fuzz, it's bad. It's bad.
Oh, the whole thing is bad.
The whole thing is bad, but the fuzz is disgusting. So if you're going to do it, take care of it.
It's so funny. We added this in. Thanks. I think who found this? I think Bruce may have found it. We wanted to put this in there as just kind of a tongue-in-cheek story. We're always doing so, serious stories on This Week in Photo. We wanted to add it
just for me.
We wanted to, and this is Christine's first time on the show.
And my first time. All these years I've been listening, and what do I get to talk about? Nutscaping.
This is the TWiP hazing we heard about at the top.
Yeah, this is it. All right, as we compose ourselves, we're going to take one last break. When we come back, we're going to answer a question from one of the TWiP listeners. All right, guys, it is time for some listener Q&A. This week's question comes from Ole Matheson. And let's see, this is a long question. So basically, she says, I keep hearing all these questions on podcasts regarding storage of your photos on multiple computers. Dropbox comes up as an option now and then, but it is easily dismissed. I am using Dropbox for all of my images, and I have downloaded the app to all of my Macs so I can automatically synchronize between the units, and I can decide what images I want to store locally on each hard drive. So she's wondering, in a nutshell, why... that was an accident. That was a remnant of the last story.
I didn't even catch it till you started laughing.
I got it right.
It's the wine. It's the wine. Sorry. Okay, well, in a nutshell, Ole is wondering why we never bring up Dropbox as a viable option for photo storage. All right, Christine, what do you think? So Dropbox, it's simple, right? I have Dropbox on all my machines, on all my devices. I use it. We use it for TWiP exhaustively to get files around. Why not use it for file storage and maybe throw your Lightroom library on there?
I'm sorry, Ole. Like, I am the worst person for this question. I have a computer. I'm not having to sync over devices.
You're like Stellarina's solution, I think, to syncing was have one computer.
It's easy.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about? I don't know if I could afford the Dropbox package necessary to upload my Lightroom library. I used to use it years ago for proofing with clients, and I've since decided to spend money on other ways to proof that are much prettier.
Yeah.
So that's not something I have to deal with. For me, it's a cost. It would be a cost thing, really. I see this person was traveling. Most of my work is local, so even if I had multiple devices, I would probably still be coming home and importing into one main system.
Yeah. And I think you're using the same service I use. It's called PixieSet, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I love PixieSet. They're great. Simple.
It's awesome. Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, I love them.
It's pretty. It's simple. I can sell stuff from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Links with professional print labs. So I have no good answers. I don't know why we.
Tim, what do you think? Dropbox as a viable alternative for photo storage? Could that work for you?
So I mean, we're at 1 terabyte, for $99 to start with.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like Christine said, I mean, there's no way, even one shoot. I mean, with a D810 file, I mean, on a full shoot, that's a ton of data. Yeah. And the time that it would take to get that stuff up and then down.
It wouldn't be up there by the time you went on the next shoot.
No. So, but I do have some working files that I keep on Dropbox. And I do keep a portfolio synced up, so no matter what device I have, it automatically is on my iPad, and I can go grab it. I can have it on my iPhone. I can have it on my laptop. So I do use it for that kind of stuff. But I imagine traveling would be a good alternative. If I shot some images that I liked and I wanted to put those over, it may be great for that. But for a full commercial shoot, it just wouldn't hold up.
I agree with both of you. I wish I was in a world where I could have one computer, but as it is right now, I have two. So I have the computer I'm on now, which is an iMac, and the workstation. I do the video editing and all that stuff here. And then I have a small 13-inch MacBook Pro, which is my travel, and that goes with me. And I have different versions of my stuff on either one. But as far as Dropbox goes, I think it's a case of using the right tool for the right job. Right, so Dropbox is phenomenal. I mean, Apple has been chasing them for years to get the syncing thing right, and Dropbox just has been working flawlessly for years. You put a file there, it goes where it's supposed to go, and people can share it, and it just works. I use it for that. I use it for getting files to clients. We use it for transferring files back and forth. Episodes of TWiP float around to all the editors and people that need to know about it. They go through Dropbox. Clients, sometimes I use that, rather than PixieSet. Sometimes I just drop a bunch of images in a folder on Dropbox and give them a link to it, and they have it. It makes things that much simpler. I don't think Dropbox is designed to be that, like Tim was saying, multiple terabyte solution, especially Lightroom. Like I was baiting you with that Lightroom comment, Christine, because you put your Lightroom library on Dropbox. Adobe doesn't necessarily sanction you having a healthy database file if it lives in the cloud, right? That wants to be local, right? At least how it stands today as we record this. That wants to be local. All bets are off when you start having multiple people access it and it's in the cloud and all that overhead that goes with that. So you could end up, could end up in a really bad state of affairs if you do that. So like I say, right tool for the right job. I think low weight file sharing and that sort of thing. Dropbox excels at that, but we're still in search of the perfect option for shared cloud databases, where I can have a Lightroom-like experience and then access it willy-nilly from multiple computers. So
even backing up my photos online, I mean, it's not right now even a reality. I tried, it just didn't work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're born too soon, my friend.
But if this is working for this person, then more power to him. I mean. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If it's working for you,
don't dismiss it. I mean, just because everyone else isn't doing it doesn't mean it's wrong. I mean,
right. Yeah, that's true. Definitely. All right. I hope that kind of addressed the question. I feel like we just kind of glossed over it, but.
What am I missing since this never comes up? I don't know. I don't think you're missing anything. I think maybe you're smarter than everyone else.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. In the comments, Ole in the comments for this episode, please write a post about how you're doing this, so we can. so we can learn from you. All right, guys. TWiP listeners, if you have a question you'd like us to tackle on the show, just visit us at thisweekinphoto.com and click on the Submit a Question link and send us a question or leave us a voice message. All right, we're going to move real quick into the Picks of the Week. This is a segment where you guys, our guests, can recommend something to the TWiP audience as long as it is photography related. Christine, I'm going to let you go first. What is your Pick of the Week?
So I did I'm not a gear person like you guys. So
Hey.
I had nothing that you could go buy today that I thought was super
It doesn't have to be purchasable.
So,
it could be anything.
This is free because that's how I roll.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the Ben Sasso free lighting mini class.
Cool.
And I did this one because he's actually really good with Facebook and Instagram tips and tricks, and I recently got some stuff from his Instagram that I loved. So I thought I would put he has lots of courses available that you can purchase. This is the free mini lighting class, and you'll have to put your email in to get it. I could actually probably send you a different link.
No, that's okay. That's totally fine.
It's really pretty. His work is beautiful. It's a lot of natural light. There's some studio stuff. There's multiple backlighting, different ways of getting certain effects. It's written really well. He has a fun personality.
And what is it? What's the fee? What does it cost?
It's the mini class, the free lighting, or the mini lighting class is free, and then he offers other classes that you can buy.
Excellent.
And then lots of tips and tricks on his Facebook and Instagram that are free that I have been finding useful lately. So thought I would put his mini class out there.
Excellent. All right, I'll check that out. So Ben Sasso, free lighting mini class. Excellent. Excellent first pick of the week, Christine Alward. There you go. Look at that. You did a good job. All right, the pressure's on for Tim. What's your pick of the week?
Well, if anybody has ever hung out with me on a shoot, they know that I keep a flashlight on my hip. And the flash that I use is a P7 from LED Lenser. This is the P7.2. I picked up my first one years ago at Costco, and I kept it in my bag thinking it was just a nice flashlight. Then I realized that the color temperature and the pattern that it gave out, or lack of pattern, was an amazing light. And so I've used it for portraits. I've used it to highlight areas. Occasionally I'll even use it to light up my bag when I'm trying to see at night, but that's rare. But it's just a great versatile light. The beam is very controllable. I think on Amazon now they're not super expensive anymore. But it's just a great tool that I have for years kept with me.
Nice. Yeah, and I have one of these because you, through the magic of your connections, got me one. And this thing is built to last about 1,000 or 2,000 years, right? It's like,
yeah, I think that's actually like a tactical flashlight, right? I don't think it was meant for the photo world necessarily.
But it works. Did you say is it daylight balanced?
I don't know what the color temperature is, but it's pretty close to daylight. I've never measured it out, but it's very close.
Yeah, it's a beautiful piece of kit. It goes, and this, just so you know, that is in my bag that's going to Vietnam with me. Taking it with me,
Wonderful.
Hopefully it will make it back from Vietnam with me, but it is definitely going with me. That's a really tough piece of gear, so love it. Cool. Very good first pick of the week, Tim.
Thank you.
Good job. And I don't have a pick of the week this week, so I'm going to leave it to you guys. So very good.
Oh.
All right, guys.
Another one. I only had one.
Yeah. I mean, see, you could have picked anything. You could have picked your Instagram feed, anything, but you didn't.
Oh.
No,
I want to give credit to another photographer who's kicking ass.
Yeah, who is it?
No, the one that I did.
Oh, I thought you said you want to do another one. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Good.
That's all I got.
All right, excellent. All right, guys, we're at the end of the show. Before we end the show, what do you got coming up in the coming months? Tim?
Let's see. I have a few things. I'm working with, in the near future, I'm doing some more black light or UV light work with a dancer. The black light stuff turned out to be, we just did it kind of for fun. and ended up that clients are starting to ask for that, and I really enjoy it. I'm working with Help Portrait coming up, which is a great program that does portraits for lower income and just families in general that don't get the opportunity to get family portraits done very often.
I know a guy that works there. His name's Jeremy Cowart.
And I think that comes up on the 5th of December. And so we're doing that locally. And I encourage everybody out there, if they go and look for that, to find a local group that's doing it. If it's not doing a local group, then start one. And then working with some dancers and some other things on a small workshop coming up, and just continuing to roll the rest of the year out, and actually starting to plan for next year. I can't believe it already. This year is about over.
And you will put links to all this stuff in the Google Doc, so we can put them in the notes, right?
Yeah.
Very good. Awesome. Well, Tim, welcome, an official welcome to This Week in Photo. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. All right, Christine, what about you? What's your agenda in the next coming months?
Well, I mean, for me, doing the family portrait stuff, I'll be wrapping up everyone needing holiday portrait sessions and getting my first studio in January. So
congratulations!
To move into a studio. I'm very excited about that. It's like all I can think about. I'm doing some stuff with you. I don't know if we're talking about that.
I'm going to talk about it in a second. Yeah. That's what I have coming up in the coming months. So I'm going to talk about that in a second.
I have to work for you coming up. That's what's new.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, I'm Mr. Burns. So that's great. And make sure whatever you have coming up that you'd like us to link to, like a link to your studio and all that, put it in the notes so we can make sure people can check that out. Just a little foreshadowing. You know, the TWiP listeners know that the TWiP network is growing like mad. There's a bunch of shows that we'll be adding in the next several months. Several before the end of the year, which is almost upon us. And one of them is a show that both of you guys will be hosting. It's on commercial fashion and the business side of things and all that magic. We're sorely lacking that kind of show on the TWiP network. And you heard it here first. Christine Alward and Tim Engle, the 1-2 punch hosts of the one of the newest shows on the TWiP network, sitting here. So, you know, it's going to be good. So congratulations on your first, debut on This Week in Photo, and also, having a show on This Week in Photo. So.
Yeah, super excited. It's kind of surreal. It's pretty crazy.
No, it's a ride, man. It's gonna be good. Podcasting is coming into its own, it looks like. So, and you guys are, the idea of doing a fashion show or a fashion type genre show on the TWiP network is kind of a big deal right now. So I'm excited to do it. Plus, both of you guys are amazingly talented. It's going to be good,
Thank you.
And Tim, you can't go wrong with a co-host like Christine. So
oh my God, it's easy. I just like the rest of my stuff, she just manages it and takes care of it, and I show up and I just push the button and she takes care of all the details.
Yeah, there you go. Christine's like, yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. All right, guys, we are at the end of another episode of This Week in Photo. I want to thank our sponsors, FreshBook, Audible, and iFi, for their support of the show. And if you want to check out these guys, we'll put links to their websites, Instagrams, Google+, all that stuff in the notes for this show. And once again, also be sure to visit us at thisweekinphoto.com to see this show and all of the shows that are on the This Week in Photo network. And with that, it is time to take that lens cap off.